Our taxes, our money, or how to make the world a much richer place. This is the situation. The government of most countries control between 35 to 58% of the GDP, thanks to the taxes that we pay. This is half of the wealth created by the entire country. It's easy to deduce that avoiding the waste of public resources in the public spending is paramount for the economic growth of each country. But this is the question. Is all that half of the GDP that the government takes, is it managed properly? We all care about our own money, but have you ever spent money in something that you really didn't need? Maybe you were at work and you received an email saying, quick, we need to spend this $20,000 in equipment. Any idea for equipment? Maybe the equipment bought in this rush was not the most used later on. This was in the small scale, but let's imagine on the grand scale. Can you picture being in charge of a budget worth $1 trillion? That's the reality of many governments. But is it realistic to expect that an individual or group, doesn't matter how capable they are, could efficiently manage such a colossal sum? Is it even possible? Setting aside issues of corruption and spending on controversial policies, do you believe the government manages its budget effectively? If we people struggle to manage our own money in an efficient manner, can you imagine the room for improvement that there is in the public spending? However, if you ask any politician in power, they will probably tell you that money is being managed better than ever, and will ask you for your trust. Let's dream. Imagine a world where all public spending can be transparently traced down to the last penny, all the time, and by anyone. It is us who track it, not the government. It would be like looking at your bank statement. You could know in detail where all the income, in this case taxes, comes from and what are all the expenses. Today I am here to introduce a tool that could make this a reality. Let's start saying what it is not. It is not cryptocurrency, it is not a central bank digital currency or CBDC, it's not something like Bitcoin or anything like that. In fact, we could switch it off and carry on as till now. Imagine what would happen if we switch off Bitcoin network. Furthermore, it's not an anonymized version of bank ledgers, as they do not track the cents themselves. Moreover, anonymizing something involves removing personal data, and in this idea of mine, there are no personal data from the start. It's anonymous by design. I will explain this later. And it's not just another way to obtain information that is already available through official freedom of information requests. This is continuous, instantaneous, public, and freely accessible. All data is structured, meaning it's easy to access and search, and covers all public spending and all revenue down to the last cent, literally. Whereas a freedom of information request takes some time, it's highly limited in content, not widely distributed, partial, incomplete, and in a format that is not easy to use or to compare with. So what it is? It is using the current technology to track down all public spending to the last cent. Let's see. It's attaching a serial number, tracking number to every cent within the economy. So imagine I have $1 in my bank account that is 100 cents, I would know that I have $1 and the bank, but not me, would know the tracking numbers of my 100 cents exactly. That would be these tracking numbers. I wouldn't know the tracking numbers myself in order to maintain the privacy of those who pay me or those I pay. When I use my credit card to pay for an ice cream, for example, a $1 ice cream, the payment will be done in the conventional way. At the same time, in a database for information only, the actual cents that I had in my bank account will show movement from a private person to a shop, for example, and the concept would be frozen food. The movement of each cent because of the transaction is recorded in a database, specifically in a permissioned public distributed layer, where payee and payer are not recorded and cannot be recorded. There is no provision to record personal data. However, the government transactions are more detailed and there are publicly known codes to identify the government accounts. For example, in this case, is the City Hall of Palo Alto. This idea implies a change of paradigm. For example, if I owe you 20 pounds, you would expect from me to give you 20 pounds, right? And you wouldn't care at all about the serial number. However, in this database, what it is important is the serial number, is the money. It's not so important who pays to who, but the actual money. For example, if I make a bank transfer to you of 20 pounds, you do not care about the serial number of those 20 pounds. The only important thing is that in my bank account against my name, I have 20 pounds less, and in your bank account against your name, there is 20 pounds more. In this system, what we pay attention is to actually the serial number. And the only thing that we would know is that this 20 pounds with this serial number goes from a person that we do not know who to, another person that we do not know who. This is the case for every private transaction. However, if I am paying council tax, we would know that a person we do not know who paid these 20 pounds, this exactly this, and not this one, with different serial numbers, right? So this one to the council tax. This is completely different to what we are normally used. For example, if somebody owes you 20 pounds, what you are interested is in that person paying you 20 pounds. In my bank statement, the data is that I have 20 pounds more or 20 pounds less, depending if I am paying to who I pay and from who do I get the payment. This is completely different because in this system we pay attention to the money itself, not to who pays or who is paid. So coming back to the example with cryptocurrency, that this is something completely different. This is a database for information only. In the cryptocurrency or in a bank transfer or with you pay with your credit card, the most important thing is who pays to who. However, in this database that is for information only, it doesn't matter who is the person and doesn't matter who is the business that is getting paid. The important thing in this system is these serial numbers. What are the actual cents within the economy that are moving? Why is this important? Because by following these serial numbers, we eventually can find out when these serial numbers come back to the government through VAT tax, through income tax, through a license fee, through whatever. In order to make sure that all the movement of every cent within the economy is recorded in this database, a secondary database also records anonymized transactions. Well, there is no personal data in the first place, but with a reference number or hash available for the parties. That is this one, this hash. This is available to the payee and to the payer. So individuals can verify that their transactions are registered, but without details, maintaining privacy. Individuals can verify that the total amount of transactions within a day, a region, and a type of concept match in both databases. In this way, privacy is maintained at all times since there are no data recorded to specific companies or individuals. For example, here this is not an individual identity. Okay. However, I emphasize transactions related to the government are much highly detailed. Also, alternatively, another advantage of this is that data leak is not possible because all data is public. In fact, it's a colossal exercise in transparency. It drastically reduces the government's power to abuse and closes the information gap between large corporations and the public. How will it be implemented? Well, by law. All financial institutions such as banks or online payment systems would have to record transactions in the public database and have tracking numbers for every cent deposited within them. Okay, looking at a government transaction would look like this. It will show exactly which bank account the money is moving from and exactly for what purpose the transaction is and what type of concept it is. Ultimately, our taxes, our money. Imagine now how the world would be with this database in place. For example, there would be a series of user-friendly websites where you can easily access accurate and instant information. For example, you could find out the exact amount of taxes collected through VAT in Lancashire yesterday, or track your municipality's daily expenses in 2023. Or you could even discover the turnover of hair salons in Preston last week, or monitor the creation of new money by private banks this morning. So this is a phenomenal system to conduct a statistical analysis of the economy to a detail that was not possible before. But this is not only this. For example, you could run real tests of the economy. For example, let's think about a real test to find out if increasing or decreasing the VAT tax is beneficial. Would an increment of VAT would be beneficial or would be detrimental? Well, let's find out with this type of experiment. Let's see. Let's slightly increase the VAT in odd months and reduce it slightly in even months. So we send a signal to the economy that is similar to a radio signal with its own frequency. In this case, the signal period is 2 months. We could track the signal and see the effects within the economy. With this tool, we can create signals like electromagnetic signals that propagate and we can observe the effects. All sorts of real experiments can be conducted. This is just one example. The advantages offered by this tool are scrutinize public spending to the cent, show where and when taxes are collected, identify where new money is printed, monitor inflation instantaneously, run statistical analysis and real tests, make better informed decisions by any economic actor. The potential of this tool to revolutionize the efficiency of public spending is immense. The more eyes watching, the better it will be spent, or at least the less wasted. With better information available to economic actors of all sizes, decision-making becomes more informed and effective, and the pressure for better public spending increases due to public scrutiny. One possible objection is the fear from government mass surveillance of the public. However, I must say that there are much easier ways for the government to achieve this. In fact, this is exactly the opposite. It's mass surveillance of the government by the public. By assigning a tracking number to every cent and creating a secondary public database where individuals can verify their transactions without the need for personal data, we establish a system where taxes, money creation, and public spending are tracked down to the last cent by anyone. It's not the government watching us, it's us watching the government. We are many more, and this tool is designed to accommodate us. I think this is the democratic way, the way that we are going to find in the future. In any democracy, it would be very difficult to argue against this tool. Our taxes, our money. We have the right to know how our hard-earned money is being spent by our elected officials. This is the technology that allows us to know. Just as I can have the bank statement of my expenses and know where I spend money at all times, it should be the same with the public money. It's unacceptable that we do not have the same level of information with our taxes when taxes are also our money. Additionally, it would be fantastic for politicians because they could show us how well they spend our money. Transparency is one of the main pillars of democracy. Throughout the centuries, transparency has increased, and the emergence of digital data in recent decades has shifted the balance of information towards large organizations, especially governments. However, individuals now have more power, more opportunities, and more access to information than ever before. That's why I believe the time will come when instant access to public spending, down to the last cent, will be available to anyone. When will it be? Maybe in 2100, in 2080? So imagine the result of applying this tool. If public spending can be tracked down to the last cent, the increment of its efficiency and the avoidance of wasting public resources would be increased. And imagine the effect that would have in the economy if this accumulated benefit happens during many years, in many decades. Earlier, I posed the question, when this will happen? I said in 2100, in 2080, or perhaps in the next decade. Well, that depends on you, on your demand to politicians to implement this, on public demand. If you share this idea with others, that public demand will increase. In this freely accessible article, you can find more information. It explains the interaction of this system with the central bank, with fractional reserve banking, with credit creation, with cash, and many other details. You can find it in the first comment or in the description. My name is Gonzalo Garcia-Atance. Thank you.